Welcome to see the Quince honey farm near South Molton. See all these honeybees. Also the great big loose orange and white beehives boxes where all these trees are, with the loose yellow telephone box with the loose bug holes on the left. Loose yellow telephone box, isn't that right? On the right there was a greenhouse, polytunnel on the right, there's a net-free restaurant on the right. Yeah. This is inside the shelter of the Quince honey farm in the polytunnel. Just looks a great big octagon shelter straight ahead.
Yes, we go to that one.
Yes, you. This is caution sign. Please take care of some plants in the garden. Maybe hazardous to avoid skin reaction, allergies and poison. Do not pick any with eat or growing plants. Stopped. Great big another word.
It's big vats.
Vat. A big fan. Great big word. Please keep honey factory doors closed. Great big works. Keep honey factory closed. Great big container. 5. Great works limited. Camera.
I am an education team member here at the honey farm. We've got our lovely trainee Rachel, who is going to be helping me through our hive today and taking on some of the tours. So we have all sorts for you today. Starting off here in our bee shed, where we will be going through our central hive here from top to bottom and showing you the life cycle of all of our bees and what they actually get up to in there. We've got curious creatures just after, just behind you. We've got a little bit of honey tasting. We all like honey. You're certainly in the right place, don't you worry. We have some candle rolling with our beeswax as well. There is a garden tour and some seeds that you can plant and take home with you as well. Make yourself a little bit of bee paradise in your own garden, so there you go. We are in our bee shed where we have lots and lots of different hives all around. We've got our modern day styles hives here. We have our hollowed out log hive, which is more of a natural style hive that the bees will go and find in nature. Just behind it is a little basket upside down. It's actually known as a skep, and it is an old style hive that we used to use all the way up until the 1800s. And then where it says bees in action this way, around the corner we've got some hives hanging up nice and high. They are creating those lovely art honeycomb from them as well. The reason that we've got them there is to show you exactly how good bees are, how good at their job of making honey they can be. Now, beekeepers, we do take honey away from our hives, but that is because bees create around 3 to 4 times the amount of honey than they can ever possibly eat. So that's why we're able to take bits off, but we've put our bees up nice and high around that corner so you can see them actually building that honeycomb out. They'll never stop, it will carry on going down and down and down. The reason it's so high is because we're fully expecting it to hit the floor in the next few years. So it's really quite a nice hive over there. And then we've got our observation hive in the back corner, which is a perspex hive, so you can see through and see those bees at work. But it is wet today. And it being wet, those bees are not out foraging too much today because of those raindrops. They do need to dodge them and stay nice and dry. That does mean that most of them are going to be in the hives today, and there can be anywhere between 40,000 to 60,000 bees in a hive during that springtime era. So there are quite a few of our bees to see today, but we will get on to all sorts of things that they do inside, how that population explodes and lots of other things. But we have our lovely camera just above, that is directly at the front of our hive at the second, and what I'll be doing is using that camera to show you in more detail what our bees are up to. Safety, big aspects when you're dealing with thousands of bees. For you, your safety is this, a lovely bit of glass to prevent those bees from coming out, so don't worry too much. For me and for Rachel, it is this lovely gear that we have on. This is a beekeeper's outfit, incredibly hard to put on by the looks of it. They are extremely fun to do, but we have a traditional beekeeper's veil here. This is so that we can see through without those bees stinging our face. We have big thick gloves on, mainly due to the fact that bees will sting your hands if they need to, and it's nice to have a bit of thick protection there. I have not worn gloves before and I got directly stung under the fingernail. It was horrible, don't need to do it again, so gloves are very important. Got the beekeeper overall on here as well. There is a thick mesh in between the outside layer and my skin that prevents those stingers from getting through again. I've got a big pair of welly boots here, or thick boots is absolutely fine. The difference is that the bees, well, for me, I have a gap under here. So I need to have a big old zip down the side to keep it nice and tight. Bees absolutely love dark, tunnely places. Happens to be my trouser legs in this instance.
Check mine.
Yeah, check yours. And if they're if they're going to get inside of my trouser leg, it's a completely different demonstration. So just bear that in mind. But we've got our safety gear on. I've just put together on this side our little beekeeper tool. It is a smoker. It produces smoke. We use a baler twine inside as fuel. And the idea is that we're going to douse those bees in smoke. Now there is a good reason for it. We're not trying to smoke them out of the hive. We are genuinely just trying to mask something which is known as an alarm pheromone. Bees talk to each other through all sorts of chemical scents in the air. One of those is one going, "We're under attack, please somebody come and help us." And that is an alarm pheromone. It alerts the rest of the colony that something is out and about. It could be a threat, it could be a badger, it could be Winnie the Pooh, whatever it is trying to get into that hive is what they are spreading this signal around for. For me, it's just humans. We're just going in to have a little look. So what that smoke does, it masks it and it prevents them from sending that signal around. Completely harmless to the bees as well. They breathe in all sorts of different ways. Bees actually have 8 different orifices to breathe through. One of them, and this is a fun fact for the day, is bees can breathe through their bum. And on that note, we're going to go in. Right. Test my microphone. We're all good? Right. Let's go on in. So this central hive is the hive that we'll be going through. It's a little bit of a shorter stack than you would normally find out and about, and that is due to our hives being in springtime mode. We are letting our bees build back up all of their honey supplies that they've had in there before, because during winter they have fed off of nearly everything that's inside. So instead of taking away excess honey now, we allow those bees to build it right back up so that they're able to carry on all the way through the end of spring, all the way into summer, and we'll be able to start stacking it up with what are known as supers. They are surplus honey boxes on top. Difference with this is that we have what is known as a brood box on the bottom. We have the brood box on here, but this is purely the brood box. This is where our queen lives, and when we place those supers on the top, we need to separate her from those supers. We use something called a queen excluder. It's a grill with holes in it that are large enough for our worker bees to go in and out, but it's small enough that that queen bee can't rise to the top. She can't get to her top box, she can't lay eggs, and it makes it purely honey inside. That's how we can separate that honey in our hives. but we are going to start off right at the top. We're going to have a little smoke right into the entrance and exit of our hive as well. Yeah, so that's perfect. And we only have that one entrance and exit because by nature bees love to seal off lots of areas to their home. Something like that hollowed out log hive, if you have a close-up look to it, you'll notice there's lots of knots in the wood. What the bees have done is created something called propolis. It's a bee-type glue, if you like. It's super glue for bees, and they use it to seal up all of those areas to create less threat from the surrounding predators that can't come into the hive. So we only have the one on our man-made hive, making it easier for them. Right at the top there, we have our metal roof. We sometimes use tarpaulin, sometimes wood. We're trying to keep it waterproof and airtight inside. There is a little bit of insulation in this one, a foam board, that will keep it a little bit warmer inside. Our bees like to raise the temperature in that hive all the way up to 35 degrees. That is very important in the process of making honey. So we're going to have a little look with our camera now at what's just below. We have what is known in the beekeeping world as a cat litter tray filled with food. It's our feeder tray at the moment, and we use these during winter. It is an insurance policy to make sure that our bees are certainly going to be able to eat all the way through that winter period. And what it is, it's a mixture of 2 parts water, 1 part sugar, creates this lovely gloopy syrup. If you ever want to save any bees in your garden that are looking a little bit tired, that solution is what you want to use. And we've placed some straw inside so our bees are able to grab onto things and not drown in there. They've got lots of little hairs on their body and they do not want to be drawn in by that water. Yeah, let's have a little look at the camera, it's quite interesting. So, right at the top here, Rachel's just pointed out to me that our bees are starting to create this lovely honeycomb on the side here. Now there is a gap just below there, which is the entrance for our bees into their hive from this feeder tray. Now what they're actually doing is building up. This is a great sign for a beekeeper. This shows us that our bees have nearly completed that base of the brood box and they're looking to expand their home higher. That means that we are very close to being able to put on our supers, our surplus honey boxes, and give them sort of an extension to their house essentially. So they're in there at the moment, just doing that. We do have particular types of worker bee. Now, the bees that give out that wild pheromone, they are known as guard bees. Their job is to look after that hive. Most of these bees that are on the top, they are workers, that are those guard bees. They are looking for any threat. We've just ripped off the roof of their house, so we're going to need to douse it with a little bit of smoke. Inside our hives, 99% of them are female. Every single female in there is a worker bee as well. The boy bees, a bit lazy, they don't do an awful lot around the hive, but our girls inside do loads and loads of work. Many jobs for our bees that we'll get into as we look through. Lovely Rachel here is just trying to hook up one of our frames. And then we're going to see what's on our outside frame. The central area of the hive is the most worked on area. The outside parts of our frames are the coldest area for our bees, so they work on them last. You can see lots of these bees are hard at work at the moment. We've got a couple of their heads dipped right in. And what they are doing is they are creating honey and they're placing it into these hexagon white cells. Now, there is another type of bee that is needed for this process. That is a builder bee or an architect bee. They need to create all of this lovely wax hexagon cells on the outside. We have a foundation frame to start with. So our bees build off of our foundation wax inside, and then they'll build out these 3D hexagon cells, as you can see there. And then our forager bees are going to go out and collect some lovely nectar to turn into honey. So if I place this on here, you can put it down if you want, of course. So what they're going to do, our bees are naturally going to go out and they are going to look for some lovely nectar. Nectar being that lovely nectar directly into those cells. Now, this is good for our bees because they're going to place it in there and they are going to take out a little bit more water content from that nectar in a very special way. Our bees gather together in big groups and they start to flap their wings. Now, if you've ever wondered why a bee buzzes, it's because it can flap its wings a massive 200 times every second. It's very, very quick. And when they group together and flap their wings, they create this warm airflow. And that warm airflow is going to be brushed straight over the top of our lovely hexagon wax cells with that nectar in, releasing the last little bit of moisture, turning it into that gloopy syrup we all know as wonderful honey. So very simple for them to do, but they are going to need to store that honey. So what our bees tend to do after is they will actually put a little bit of wax capping over the top. That builder bee that can create the wax comes along, lays a little bit of wax over the top, really thin, just to store that honey inside. Now honey lasts an awfully long time. Some would say forever, but we don't actually, well, we can't measure forever, so we can go now as they're creating that propolis, that bee-type glue which they actually get sap from trees and add enzymes to it, and they'll bring it back, or if they've got collections of it, they'll use it now to seal up those edges of our hive here. And there we go, our lovely bees will be hard at work. Just clipping this back together. These are demo hives, so we do move through them throughout the days of the week, and we only use these hives for around 1 to 2 weeks at a time, so that we don't overstress the bees. We've got an apiary, which is a collection of bee hives on the other side of South Molton, but there are around 100 hives that we will swap throughout the year, so we definitely don't stress our bees out too much, because ultimately we love them. This is Quince Honey Farm. We would be nowhere without our bees, so we have to look after them as best we can. So with that, I thank you all very much for listening. The lovely Rachel snuck in behind you there so that you can do Curious Creatures, and I'll see you a little bit later on. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Well, there we come to the end of the Quince Honey Farm show. That's near South Molton. Hope you enjoy. Bye bye for me. Hope you enjoy your bees in that fun little hive, making a funny noise in that bee sheds. Also some bee jar honey factories. All right, there's a week there. I hope you enjoy your honey farm.
Brilliant.